It wasn't until Chloe, the scholarship student, showed up that I realized I was just a placeholder princess. But my father didn't know that. So at a business gala he announced loudly, "Anya, tell daddy who you like, bring him over. And I'll welcome my new son-in-law." Today the entire ballroom turned to look at the three wealthy heirs, who had once been my closest friends, my protectors. But the three of them acted as if they hadn't heard a thing. One was feeding Chloe a piece of cake. Another was making her laugh. The third was watching her with an expression of pure, tender adoration. The silence was thick with awkwardness. My father's face stiffened. "Dad," I said quickly, "my boyfriend is studying abroad. I'll bring him to meet you when he's back." The three of them shot me a look of pure scorn. I knew they didn't believe me. They thought I was just trying to save face. But the truth was, I really did have a boyfriend. The next time I visited their homes, it was to deliver my wedding invitations. I was having tea with Mrs. Hayes when Liam, her son, came downstairs. "Liam, darling," she called out. "We were just talking about Anya's wedding." Liam, every inch. The domineering CEO shot me a glare. "Anya, who said anything about marrying you? Don't use my mother to pressure me. I told you, I'm not interested. Get it through your head." He stormed out of the house, without another word. Mrs. Hayes sighed. "That boy only ever hears half of a conversation. You said you were marrying him." She looked at me apologetically. "Anya, I'm so sorry. I don't know what's gotten into Liam. He used to adore you. He and the other two were always fighting over who could be nicer to you. I used to think he'd have to fight them off if he wanted to be my son-in-law. But now," I just smiled and shook my head. "It's fine. You can't force a connection that isn't there." "Well, I should get going." "Of course, dear. We'll be at your wedding." From the Hayes estate, I went to the Thorne residence as the maid was showing me in. Ethan was just ending a call. The moment he saw me, a smirk touched his lips. "Liam just called," he said, walking towards me. "Said you tried to force a marriage proposal at his house, and now you're trying your luck with me." He put on his usual mask of gentle civility. "Anya, I thought we made it clear at the gala. We're not interested in you. We're not going to marry you. You should stop this." I just smiled and nodded. "Which is why I'm here, to deliver my wedding invitation." He froze for a second. Then that mocking smile returned. "Let me guess. You're pulling the same stunt your father did, going to corner one of us at the altar. So we'll have to play along to avoid a scene. Anya, haven't you learned your lesson? We don't like you, and we won't do anything that might make Chloe misunderstand. You won't be able to invent another fake boyfriend to save yourself. This time." I shook my head, about to speak, but his phone rang again. His entire demeanor softened when he saw the caller ID. "Hey Chloe." "Oh, I'll be right there." He hung up and shot me a look that said, "You're on your own for brushing past me and leaving." It seemed that because of my father's stunt at the gala, they were utterly convinced I was trying to trap one of them into marriage. Fine. They find out the truth soon enough. Mrs. Thorne came out then, greeting me warmly and accepting the invitation. "My Ethan just doesn't know how lucky he could have been," she sighed. I was delivering the invitations myself, because despite the fractured friendship with the three of them, their parents had always been incredibly kind to me. After my mother died, and my father threw himself into his work, I had spent my childhood rotating between their three homes. I would never forget the warmth and love they had shown me. Just then I saw a new post on Chloe's social media, a picture of the four of them at an amusement park. Perfect. That meant I could go to the third house without any interruptions. I was sitting with Mrs. Monroe when I said the wedding is next month. "Mom, how could you arrange a marriage between me and Anya without asking me? This is my girlfriend, Chloe." Noah Monroe stormed in, pulling Chloe by the hand. "Mom, I know we used to play house, and you all joked about me marrying Anya, but we were just kids. We're adults now. You have to respect my choice." Mrs. Monroe was stunned. "Noah, that's not." But Noah, never one for patience, was already glaring at me. "Anya, can you just stop chasing us? Do you really think getting our parents to pressure us is going to work? Don't you see how much we can't stand you right now? How we're trying to get away from you?" "Noah," Mrs. Monroe snapped, her voice sharp. But he wasn't listening. "I love Chloe, and I will never, ever marry Anya. So you can all just wait for a wedding that's never going to happen." He grabbed Chloe's hand and dragged her out. Mrs. Monroe sighed heavily. "He's not even interested in Anya. Where does he get the confidence to think she'd want to marry him?" I just shrugged with a small smile. "He probably dislikes me so much right now. He can't be bothered to listen to anything I say. It's fine. They'll all understand eventually." When I left the Monroe mansion, all four of them, Liam, Ethan, Noah, and Chloe, were waiting outside. Remembering how much they supposedly despised me, I decided to ignore them and walk away. "Anya." Chloe ran up and grabbed my arm. "Don't misunderstand. Noah was just pretending I was his girlfriend to get you to back off." "Chloe, why are you even talking to her?" I'm doing this to get rid of her. Noah called out impatiently. Noah, don't be like that. We're all friends. I only met you guys because of Anya. I miss the days when the 5 of us used to hang out together. Chloe said sweetly. Anya, please don't be mad at everyone. I really want us all to be friends again. As she spoke, her nails dug sharply into my arm. I hissed in pain and pulled my arm away. Ah. She stumbled backward as if I had shoved her with all my might. Chloe. The 3 of them rushed to her side, their faces etched with concern. Anya. Chloe is being so nice to you and you push her? Have you no conscience? Noah yelled. Ethan's face was cold. Chloe has been trying to get you to rejoin our group, but it seems you're just not worthy. Apologize to Chloe right now, Anya. Liam commanded, his voice low and dangerous. Chloe leaned against Liam, looking fragile and hurt, but her eyes, when they met mine, were filled with a familiar, triumphant malice. I brushed off my arm and gave them a cold look. I'm so terrible. Why would I ever apologize to her? If you just keep her away from me, she won't get hurt. Problem solved. I turned and walked away. Anya, if you don't learn to be kind to Chloe, then there's nothing left between us. Liam's cold voice followed me. A bitter smile touched my lips. Since Chloe had appeared, had there ever been anything left between us to begin with? That evening, Mrs. Hayes asked me to deliver some medication to her at their vacation villa in the suburbs. But when I got there, only Liam, Ethan, and Noah were there. It turned out our parents had tricked all of us, and our cars were gone. There was no way to get back to the city. Tonight, on the phone, Mrs. Hayes said she hoped that by being in this place, a place filled with so many childhood memories, we would reconcile and become friends again. Noah scoffed, what a waste of time. I wonder if Chloe needs us for anything. His words made Liam and Ethan frown with worry. I agreed it was a waste of time. But looking around the familiar villa, I couldn't help but feel a pang of nostalgia. I walked over to the grand piano that had been sitting in the corner for over a decade. I remembered the 4 of us, 8 clumsy hands, trying to play a duet. Noah was always the troublemaker. We would end up bickering and laughing while our parents watched, taking countless pictures of us at this very piano. Chloe started taking piano lessons. Look, I took a video of her. Noah pulled out his phone. Liam and Ethan immediately crowded around to watch. The sound of hesitant, clumsy notes filled the air, followed by Chloe's sweet voice. They watched completely engrossed, their faces lit up with smiles. I stepped outside onto the patio. The lights illuminated the swimming pool. I remembered the summer. They'd had a contest to see who could hold their breath the longest. I was so young. I thought they were drowning. I jumped in, screaming to save them. Liam, Ethan, Noah, don't worry. I'm coming. Of course. I was the one who ended up swallowing half the pool. They all had to work together to pull me out. Half laughing, half exasperated. Our little Anya. So cute and so clumsy. We'll have to protect you forever. The words echoed in my ears. And they had. They had protected me my entire life. They shielded me from every danger. Took me for ice cream. Took me on adventures. The air around me seemed to shimmer with the ghost of our laughter. But then a real voice shattered the illusion. Chloe, don't be scared. We're coming to get you right now. Liam was on the phone with her, his voice frantic. There's a thunderstorm in the city, and Chloe's terrified. We have to go to her. He turned to the other 2, who looked just as panicked. They rushed out of the villa, looking around wildly. There are no cars. I don't care. I'm not waiting. I'm running back. Noah gritted his teeth and started sprinting into the darkness. The other 2 were right behind him. Wait. I called out. Noah spun around and glared at me. Anya. Chloe is crying her eyes out. And you're trying to stop us because you're jealous. Liam and Ethan shot me equally annoyed looks. My face was impassive. By the time you run all the way back, storm will be over, and she'll have already been scared. Then what are we supposed to do? We can't just wait here. Noah seated, ready to run again. Ethan, the more rational of the 3, stopped him. Let's call someone to pick us up. And in the meantime, we'll look for another way to get back. They started searching the villa grounds with their phone flashlights. We knew every inch of this place. From all the games of hide and seek we had played as kids. There's an old utility vehicle over here, I said, shining my light on a dusty, 3-wheeled vehicle in the corner of the garage. They rushed over. After a bit of effort, they managed to get it started. Liam got in the driver's seat. Ethan and Noah squeezed into the back. It was a tight fit. There was no room for a third person. They all hesitated, looking at me. I shrugged. I never planned on going back with you anyway. Go ahead, Anya. Ethan started. My voice was cool. Chloe's probably terrified, that was all it took. Your concern for me evaporated, Anya. We'll send someone back for you, Liam said. And then he was gone. The little vehicle sputtering off into the night, carrying them towards the girl they cared about. And with them disappeared 20 years of memories. Goodbye, my old friends, I whispered to the darkness. Just then a sleek black car pulled up. The man who got out had come straight from the airport. I ran to him with a smile and threw myself into his arms. The scent of rain and expensive sandalwood wrapped around me as Julian pulled me close. I buried my face in his chest, feeling the steady thrum of his heartbeat, a contrast to the chaotic, sputtering engine of the utility vehicle that had just vanished into the night. You're late, I whispered, though there was no malice in it. Julian Sterling, a man whose name carried more weight in international finance than the Hayes, Thorne, and Monroe families combined, kissed the top of my head. The storm delayed the flight, and then I heard your father's stunt at the gala had caused some ripples. I came as fast as I could. He pulled back, his sharp eyes scanning my face, then settling on the red marks on my arm where Chloe's nails had dug in. His expression darkened instantly. The air around him turned frigid. Who did this? It doesn't matter anymore, I said, gently pulling my sleeve down. They've made their choice, Julian. And I've made mine. Let's go home. As the sleek Maybach glided toward the city, I looked out the window. Somewhere on that dark, muddy road, 3 of the most powerful heirs in the country were huddling together on a dusty 3-wheeled cart, rushing to save a girl from a thunderstorm, thinking they had left me behind to rot in my own desperation. They thought they were the protagonists of a romance. They didn't realize they were just background characters in a story I had already finished reading. The following week was a whirlwind. While the 3 musketeers, as the press liked to call Liam, Ethan, and Noah, were busy hovering over Chloe, who had supposedly developed a fever from the fright of the storm, I was finalizing the details of the Sterling-Everhart union. Julian didn't want a quiet wedding. They spent years making you feel like a backup option, he told me while we looked over the floral arrangements. It's time they realize you were always the prize. The invitations I had delivered were, in fact, real, but because I hadn't printed the groom's name, wanting to surprise my father and avoid Julian being hounded by the press, the boys had filled in the blanks with their own arrogance. I ran into them one last time at a high-end jewelry boutique. I was there to pick up my grandmother's tiara, which Julian had sent for restoration. Liam, Ethan, and Noah were there with Chloe. They were picking out a friendship bracelet for her to cheer her up. Anya. Noah's voice was full of disbelief. You're still going through with this? We saw the catering trucks at your estate. Who are you trying to fool? Ethan stepped forward, his eyes pitying. Anya, stop. You've hired actors, haven't you? You're going to walk down the aisle to an empty altar, or a paid stranger just to spite us. It's pathetic. Chloe clung to Liam's arm, looking pale and fragile. Anya, please. If this is about us, I'll leave. I don't want to be the reason you ruin your life with a fake marriage. I looked at Chloe. For the first time, I didn't see a rival. I saw a girl who was desperately playing a part, and 3 men who were so addicted to being heroes that they had forgotten how to be human. The wedding is on Saturday at the Sterling Heights Cathedral, I said calmly. The invitations are still valid. If you want to see the truth, be there. If not, stay away. Either way, my life continues. Liam let out a harsh laugh. Sterling Heights? That's private property. Not even our families can book that venue. You're lying again, Anya. Just like the boyfriend, who is studying abroad. We'll be there, Ethan interrupted, his voice cold. We'll be there to catch you when the lie falls apart. Maybe then you'll finally learn your lesson and apologize to Chloe. I smiled. It was a small, tired smile. I look forward to it. Saturday arrived with a sky so blue it looked painted. The Sterling Heights Cathedral was a masterpiece of Gothic architecture, perched on a cliff overlooking the ocean. Security was tighter than a state funeral. Black-suited men with earpieces checked every ID. When Liam, Ethan, and Noah arrived with Chloe in tow, they were dressed in their finest suits, their expressions smug. They expected to be turned away at the gate. They expected to find a deserted church or a cheap setup. Instead, they found a line of Rolls-Royces and Bentleys. They saw senators, tech giants, and international royalty moving toward the entrance. What is this? Noah muttered, his confidence wavering. Is there another event happening? Anya must have timed her fake wedding to coincide with a real high society event to make it look like her guests, Liam hissed. Look at her, trying so hard. They pushed their way to the entrance, flashing their invitations. The usher looked at the cards, then at them. The Hayes, Thorne, and Monroe families. You're at table 12. Please, follow the attendant. As they entered the sanctuary, the breath left their lungs. The entire hall was filled with white peonies, my favorite. The music wasn't a recording. It was a world-renowned chamber orchestra. And there at the front of the church stood a man. He wasn't an actor. He wasn't a stranger. Is that Julian Sterling? Ethan whispered, his face turning an ashen gray. The Lion of Wall Street. The man who had recently acquired the holding company that managed 40% of the Thorne family's assets. The man who was currently in negotiations to bail out Liam's latest tech venture. The 3 heirs stood frozen in the aisle. Chloe's face, usually so carefully composed in its fragility, was now twisted in genuine shock and envy. Then, the doors at the back opened. I didn't look like a placeholder. I didn't look like a girl trying to save face. I wore a gown of handmade lace and the Everhart diamonds, my veil trailing 6 feet behind me. My father walked beside me, his face glowing with a pride I hadn't seen in years. As I passed the three of them, I didn't glance their way. I didn't need to. I could feel the weight of their gaze, the sudden, crushing realization that I hadn't been chasing them. I had been outgrowing them. The ceremony was a blur of beauty. When Julian lifted my veil and kissed me, the applause was deafening. At the reception, the air was thick with the scent of expensive champagne and the hushed whispers of the elite. The three heirs stayed in the corner, looking like lost children. They were no longer the kings of the ballroom. In this room they were small. I was dancing with Julian when Liam approached. He looked as if he hadn't slept in days, though only an hour had passed since the ceremony. "Anya," he choked out. Can we talk?" Julian stepped closer, his arm sliding possessively around my waist. "Mr. Hayes, I believe you've had 20 years to talk to my wife. Today her time belongs to me." Liam flinched at the word wife. "Anya, I didn't know. We thought you were being manipulated. We thought you were trying to make us jealous." "That's your problem, Liam," I said, leaning my head against Julian's shoulder. "You thought everything I did was about you. When I was kind, you thought I was clinging. When I stayed away, you thought I was playing hard to get. You never once considered that I might just be a person with my own life, my own heart, and my own value." Noah and Ethan joined him, their faces a mask of regret. "We messed up," Ethan said, his voice trembling. "Chloe, she told us things. She made it seem like you were bullying her. We were just trying to be fair." "Fair?" I laughed, and the sound was sharp. "You left me at a villa in a storm to ride a tractor to a girl who was scared of thunder. You told me I wasn't worthy of being in your circle. You told me to apologize for existing." I looked at the three of them, the boys who had once promised to protect me forever. "You didn't protect me," I said softly. "You just enjoyed the power of having a girl wait for you. But I'm done waiting." Just then Chloe approached, her eyes red-rimmed. "Anya, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean for things to go this far. I just wanted to belong." "You did belong, Chloe," I interrupted. "I welcomed you first. But you wanted more than a place. You wanted to take mine. Well, you can have it. You can have the three of them. They're exactly what you deserve." The fallout was swift. Without the Everhart family's social backing and the Sterling Group's sudden disinterest in their ventures, the three heirs found themselves under immense pressure. Liam's tech merger collapsed when Julian pulled the funding. Ethan's mother, furious at how he had treated me, stripped him of his position at the Thorn Foundation. Noah, the impulsive one, tried to drown his sorrows in a scandal that made the front pages, ruining the Monroe family's pristine reputation. And Chloe? Without the victim narrative to play, the three heirs began to see her for what she was. Without me to serve as the villain in her story, she had no role to play. They began to bicker. They began to blame her for the loss of their Anya. But I wasn't their Anya anymore. 6 months later, I stood on the deck of a villa in Santorini, watching the sun dip below the horizon. Julian came up behind me, wrapping a pashmina around my shoulders. "Thinking about the past?" he asked. "No," I said, turning in his arms to kiss him. "I was just thinking about how quiet the world is when you're with the right person." My phone buzzed on the table. A message from an unknown number, likely Liam or Noah, using a new burner phone to beg for a meeting, for a chance to explain, for a shred of the friendship we once had. I didn't open it. I didn't delete it. I simply tossed the phone into the deep blue waters of the Aegean and walked inside with my husband. The placeholder princess was gone. The queen had finally found her kingdom,